In this video, we're simply solving a proportion problem. All that means is we're trying to solve for x here, okay? And we have our two proportions, one on either side of the equal sign, written in their fractional forms, okay? That just means they're written as fractions. We can write proportions in different ways. This is just one of them. But when we write them as fractions, they make it a little easier to solve and manipulate, mathematically speaking, okay? So we can solve this different ways. One, we can just follow simple order of operations, right? We're just trying to isolate for the x, get everything else over onto the one-hand side, preferably the right-hand side because we want our unknown, our x in this case, on our left-hand side. Doesn't matter. I mean, we can always move our x at the last step over to the left-hand side, so no worries. So yeah, we can just use order of operation. Or we can do a little trick that works in these cases where we simply have a proportion or fraction equal to another proportion or fraction, and that's called cross multiply. And that's what I'm going to show you here, okay? Because there's other videos, and you may already know how to use order of operations. So if you want to do it that way, you can look at those resources. But this video, I'm going to show you this cross multiplication. What it does is it takes two steps and turns them into one step, okay? So if you find it confusing, that's okay. Just use regular order of operation. It'll just take you an extra step, but if that means you get the answer correct, that's better, okay? Honestly. So cross multiplication, pretty simple. All it means is we take the numerator on the left-hand side, multiply it by the denominator on the right-hand side, and that answer is placed on the left-hand side. Okay, so you see how it can be a little confusing, right? And then on the right-hand side of our equation, we're going to take the numerator from the right-hand side and multiply it by the denominator from the left-hand side. Okay, and that answer, as I just said, goes on the right-hand side. So we could do that all in steps. Okay, take a few steps and perform that same action that we just did in one step. But we can use cross multiplication and do it quicker. It's totally up to you, okay? But this video, I'm going to show you the cross multiplication. Okay, so here we go. We're just going to go ahead and start. So we're going to take this numerator, left-hand side, multiply it by the right-hand side denominator. So x times 15. Let's just write that out. And that goes on our left-hand side. So x, I'm going to use the little dot to represent multiplication. That's times 15. And that equals, on the right-hand side, the numerator from the right-hand side, 6, times, we're going to use the dot again, the denominator from the left-hand side, which is 20. Okay, now we can simplify this. So x times 15 is just 15x. 6 times 20 is 120. Okay, now x is not by itself yet. We need to further simplify. What that means is we need to look here at the left-hand side. What's going on here? We have 15 times x. So if we do the opposite action, if we divide by 15, and we need to do this to both sides, we get 15 divided by 15, they cancel, just becomes 1. 1 times x is simply just x. Okay? Now, let's look at the other side of our equation. 120 over 15. Or we could say 120 divided by 15, okay? Because a fraction is simply a division that we haven't done yet, okay? So we don't often think of fractions that way, but that is what they are. So if we want to write a division, but we don't want to write the numbers beside each other with the division symbol, we can just simply write them as a fraction, okay? It's exactly the same thing. Now, we want to solve this. We want a concrete answer for x. We don't want it in a fractional form. If it has to be a decimal, so be it. If it's a whole number, that's great too. We don't really care. We just want to solve it. Okay, so we're going to take 120. We're going to divide it by 15, and that gives us an answer of 8. So we solved our proportion. We used cross multiplication to eliminate a few steps. to combine steps into a single step. And then we isolated for x, and we got our answer, and that answer was 8. If you would like to learn how to quickly study for your GED exam online and get a new resume, then visit testprepskills.com.